we're running here. Let's go.
Online courses.
So you're able to vote.
There we go. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
There's a lot of empty seats this morning. I hope that people are still going to be trickling in. But nonetheless, I'm glad to see everybody that is here. Abby's stuck in traffic, but she's on her way. She puts together this great slideshow, so if you need me to stop it and stay on one slide for a minute, I will. But since this one is up here, I will just start off by saying you are in Launch Fayette. Launch Fayette is the first incubator of its kind down here on the south side of Atlanta. And we are really lucky that Steve Justice lives in the neighborhood and thought to create this because he has statewide experience of building these kinds of places. And I think the potential of this space is just incredible. They have a full lineup of events. The events are free for members, and membership starts, I think, as low as $15 a month. It's incredible. I'm saying all this because if you are here and you don't fully understand this space, you should absolutely get a tour afterwards. And now, in addition to Steve, there are two other people here who are available to give tours. So by all means, please take the time and just get a tour. It's going to go faster than I can talk, so let me just try to remember everything that's on there. In addition to 1 Million Cups being held at Launch Fayette, I also, the Chamber, and I also hold Startup Fayette here. And that takes place on the third Tuesday of every month. This next third Tuesday coming up, I believe the date is August 19th. I'm really bad at numbers, it could be the 17th. It's a Tuesday, so just please, check your calendars. But the topic is going to be, it is the 19th, excellent. The topic is Know Your Numbers. We have a bookkeeper who's coming in to teach us about profit and loss statements and balance sheets and all the things that I absolutely wanted to avoid when I was starting my business because I hate numbers. And now I admit I don't use Tara Baines. I met her after I had already contracted with somebody else, but my bookkeeper is the reason why I know my numbers, because if it was left up to me, I wouldn't. So I'm excited about that. I will remind everybody it is a free event. There is pizza provided. The only thing we ask you to do is go onto the Chamber website and RSVP so that we know how many mouths to feed.
And our calendar is down right now. It went down yesterday. We're working to get it back up.
Oh, is that my fault?
Apologize.
I bet that's my fault. Because Leonardo asked me to move the DNS Chamber Master had some requests to make, and I gave them access. And I bet, well, I say it's my fault, but really it could be Chamber Master's fault. Anyway, I did not know that that was a result, so I should look at that. See, I would never have known that. Where did I leave off though? That was Startup Fayette calendar, RSVPing for that. Also on the Chamber calendar, when it comes back up, is the next big Chamber event, well, that I'm a part of, which is called the Business Growth Essentials. And that is on Tuesday, August 4th. From 8 to 10. It is here in this building, but across the hall in the pit. Me and my partner Russ, we are going to be leading that talk about just what it's like to be marketing in 2025. And I'm excited. I've been reviewing the content that I want to go over
It's
every
for
day.
Launch Fayette.
Honestly,
You don't
it's
have to fill
changing
it all
every day, which is kind of the point, right?
What time is that?
8 to 10.
8 to 10.
Yep, and breakfast is served. To be
Coffee, Chick-fil-A,
Nice.
biscuits.
There you go.
Oh, it needs to be
Chick-fil-A breakfast, and it's in this building. It's just you'll enter the same door, Jay, but you'll go past Launch Fayette. You'll walk straight, and the double door straight ahead is the room that this is going to be in. And let's see, so that is a $35
But it's
ticket.
mine.
However, I did tell you last week that if you would like a 20% off discount,
Let it
just
keep
come
mine.
talk to me, and I'll or David,
Or me.
and we'll get that out. And then August 7th, there's another slide up there, I'm sure, but August 7th, we are hosting our first ever art show at the Nexus. It's going to be from 5 to 8. We have 24 different pieces to display. One of the pieces that's actually not included in that number is food. The chef Andrew Chambers, who's usually here, he's actually submitting his work in the form of food. And we'll have music. I can't tell you what yet, but it will also be a performance of some kind, so I'm excited about that as well. And just while I have your attention, I want to thank Leticia, because she is absolutely spearheading this entire thing. And the room looks amazing, and I love being there every day as it was. Now it just feels, I don't know, however you feel when you're surrounded by art. That's subjective, so I know how it makes me feel. Anyway, I have flyers. I would love for you to put it on your calendars and make sure that you come. The event is from 5 to 8. Stop in at any time. And I don't know, I'll pass these around. There's probably not enough for everybody in the room, but I'll pass them around just to make sure that everybody who wants one gets one. And that's free too. And let's see. 1 Million Cups just wrapped up their annual summit. And this year, for the first time, they merged the Fast Track Summit with 1 Million Cups Summit, because Kauffman Foundation finally realized that there is a tremendous overlap between those two groups. If you're not familiar with what Fast Track is, the best thing I can tell you is that it's sort of like getting your MBA over the course of 14 weeks. We are going to start our second cohort here in the fall, and in September. We're actually meeting about it today, right after this meeting, and we'll have dates and costs and all that outlined. But last time we did it for the first cohort, I think it was only $50 if you're a member. And again, I'll remind you, the lowest membership here is $15 a month. If you're a non-member, it was like $500. Even $500 is 5 times cheaper than some other places that offer the Fast Track program. I will tell you that it is for people who are just starting a business, want to start a business, or already in business but don't have a business plan. It's incredible. David led the last one, and I sat in on just about every session. And is there anybody in the room that was part of that?
I was.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it was.
it was also the first time we did it, so there were a lot of kinks, but it's just an incredible program with lots and lots and lots of information, and your business will be better off because of it. What else can I say? I think I might have covered everything. And new people? Anybody here for the very first time? I don't think so. All right, no notebooks today. I don't like that though. Where are all your friends? Bring people. Bring people. Tell them they get a notebook and beignets. Yeah. All right. Nothing to give out today. But I feel like, Cindy, was there a message? Was there something else I was supposed to say? Nini, I feel like Steve had asked me to say something. All right. Well, I'll double check before the meeting's over, and I'll bring it up if it was important. Actually, I do have one thing I'd like to. It's sort of time sensitive for me. I'm sorry to cut into your time, but I do have one thing I'd like to get your feedback on. So, you all know by now that I put on the night market. The night market, for those of you that don't know, is a display of about 50 artisans. There's music, there's food, there's alcohol, but for this point of the conversation, I'm focusing on the artisans. I was introduced by Blue, who you might have met in this room. He introduced me to the manager of the Avenue because the 3,000 square foot space that's to the left of Positano is vacant, and they would rather have a short-term holiday lease than nothing. So they want me to do a holiday artisan market. And I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that's a good idea? Do you think Peachtree City needs one of those? Because, I mean, you've already got Heirloom, and there's lots of other places that have exactly the same kind of model, but I would be leveraging the night market vendors, right? I would put this out there to them first. So I'm getting a lot of thumbs up and heads nodding up and down. So the next question is, and this is really a question for the vendors, I suppose, right? You have a point?
What is the cost for you to lease the space?
$3,000
Per month or total?
per month.
Per month.
Per month, plus gas and electric. Everything else, garbage, everything else is covered in that. So $3,000 a month is my cost. So what I was thinking is offering it to my vendors at a cost of $200 per week or $800 a month. But I also wanted to do it by, I'm asking for feedback, is 2 weeks at a time a good block of time where it gives them an out if it's not going so well, or should I, for my own sake, get more of a commitment just so that I'm more comfortable with, and stable? Go ahead.
First question I'd ask, is this going to take you away from what you're already doing?
Great question.
When I met with them, I told them in full disclosure that I do not have the bandwidth to do this, right? But my partner at Night Market, Teresa, she's my vendor coordinator. You all have to hear this because I'm getting chills even just thinking about it. I called her up and I said, hey, what do you think about? And I presented the exact same thing. And she just about dropped the phone because she said, you have no idea what you just said to me. I have literally been dreaming about doing this exact thing. In fact, I've even mentioned it to some of the vendors and they all said it would be a great idea. Like, I had no idea that was in her mind. I had no idea it was something she was working towards. And I had no idea that I was gonna have the kind of support that I didn't even know I was going to need. So, I don't have the bandwidth for this. I mean, I can handle the business side of things. I can do a lot of the stuff without having to be there every day. But that brings me to the next, and Darlene, I'd love to hear what your question
I'm
is.
just asking if it would be open the same hours as the other businesses there, or
Right.
just.
That's exactly where I was going next.
Yeah.
So
'Cause the
for
vendors
200
can't do
a
that,
week,
can they?
in my mind initially,
don't
I
have
thought
the time
that
to do
market,
that.
right? I think it's a 5-hour window and the vendors
not
are
their
there and they're running their own
regular-
business. So
Right.
how do I
They
do
have to
that
hire people.
when it's a retail space that could potentially be open 7 days a week from, sunrise to sunset or something, right? I don't know that yet. I'm thinking that it probably makes the most sense to hire someone to do it like antique shop style,
Right.
where there's somebody at the front that's handling all of the checkouts and then we handle the distributions afterwards. That way the vendors themselves don't have to be
there.
present,
Right.
and we can extend the number of hours that the store is open. And yes.
One suggestion I would have to make is also incorporate the vendors to help out also too. So make it to where it's almost like an open co-op space,
Love it.
to where you come in, the vendors might have to come in maybe once or twice a week to help.
And that would be their day.
Yeah, just to help out as far as checking people out. So make it kind of like an open market.
I love that. I will. Somebody had suggested that maybe it's not a hired person who comes in. That maybe it is in fact like the vendor that wants to commit to all 3 months. Like they would essentially get free rent, but they would have to work.
Be there.
Yeah.
Right. But because some vendors, this is what they do all day long.
Right.
Other vendors have full-time jobs and can barely even make it to the night market on time. So like this
Right.
clearly wouldn't work for them, but they would want that opportunity. So I love that concept. Ryan?
Well, it's kind of a similar model to what Octavia did at Winter Wonderland last year. So she had the vendors come in a day early and they all checked it into a POS system, but the POS system was split up per vendor. So it was already
Yeah.
predetermined and like, they got a cut and stuff already went in.
I
and
didn't
so-
even know that, and that's exactly the
It's-
system I know I'm gonna need. So
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta
like
talk to her
Squarespace,
about
and
it.
it's really a kiosk. And honestly, you wouldn't really have to have anything except for someone to man like loss prevention and that sort of
Right.
thing. But for someone to kind of hang out and make sure the kiosk was always working, but you could really do that with a pretty entry level employee or a cycle of that.
It's great.
But obviously you're in contact with her, but she definitely had a model for that pretty similar because that's what the market in the hallway was. It was just all the vendors put up like a store.
Yeah.
But they were all separate and beautiful.
I didn't go this year because I was away. My grandmother's
Yeah.
97th birthday or something.
Well, she didn't have the foot traffic the way the avenue did, so
Right,
that would
right.
work perfectly for that. So
That's great. So now the tools become even much more available too. I mean, I
Yeah.
immediately gravitate towards software, so I was like, I can build that.
Yeah, exactly.
I have multi-vendor websites that I've done before, so it felt like it could be the same thing with just the POS system there.
Yeah.
But that sounds great. I want this to be easy. And I've calculated, I haven't done every calculation, but I figure if I pay somebody $20 an hour for 10 hours a day, there's still enough profit left over for this whole venture to even feel like it's worth it for me. Yeah, especially because I won't really have to be involved. So Artisans at the Avenue, opening October 1st. I don't know. They want me to do October, November, December. I'll need time to get it all built up, but
So I know there's, I call my wife Christmas crazy. We had 18 Christmas trees two Christmases ago.
We have 4, and I thought that was nuts.
A little crazy, yeah.
And they're all decorated.
Every single one. And,
Wow, we are
so
definitely
if
going
you
over.
call
I
it-
need to see that.
If you call it a Christmas shop,
Yeah.
you're gonna get people like crazy to show up because people love Christmas shops.
Do you
I don't
think
know what the
though,
draw is, but I mean, her and all her friends would show up day one.
So, I mean, I think that it being and the word holiday could swap out, right? I mean, if we really do open this up in the second week of October, you've got Halloween stuff. Then it becomes Thanksgiving stuff. Then it becomes Christmas stuff. And inevitably, the goal here for the Avenue would be that if the vendors feel like it's worthwhile, they wouldn't want to leave. I'd have to make sure it continues to be worth my while. My math, I think I can fit about 16 vendors into the space. If that number drops down to half of that because it's after holidays, then that becomes a problem. However, this could also be an incubator, and this is where Blue's Head is at. This could be an incubator for the vendors if they do well enough and have enough confidence that they might want to actually open up their own storefront, an independent storefront. But I do like the idea of focusing on the holidays. So it'd be Artisans at the Avenue, sort of the brand, and then we could Christmasify it as that season kind of approaches. I think that gives the vendors a chance to turn over their theme stuff too, because a lot of times at night we see that too, right?
$200, we're not talking about taking a small percentage of each sale or anything else.
Well, obviously, if we go the POS, the centralized POS route, they would have to do without the credit card fees, but they would have been dealing with that even if they had to do it themselves, right? So I was thinking $200 a week would have been, yeah, I wasn't thinking about doing any percentage of sales or anything. To me, it felt hard to manage, but if I'm centralizing the POS, that's definitely easier.
Yeah, the centralized POS system idea. I think the nearest competition with that would be in Snellville. Yeah, there's a place in Snellville that does that, but I don't know if I believe they might have closed. I'm not sure if they closed or not.
They do what exactly?
Like the centralized POS system.
That's how the store works, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Heirloom, that's how they operate too.
They do that too.
But
yeah.
see, what I understand about Heirloom is that they also have their own things that they sell. So it's in their best, like they're the vendor that's manning the whole store. They just happen to be a vendor in their own store. So that wouldn't be me. I don't have anything that I'm looking to sell where I could afford to pay somebody to just sell for me, and then by the way, sell for everybody else. So maybe 200 a week. If I wanted to keep it flat, maybe 200 a week is too low. I don't know. I also am still waiting on the numbers from, I guess it'd be Blue or Jeremy at the Avenue, but I want to know what is the traffic like there. How many cars are going past there every day? A lot. No, I mean, when we were sitting there, I probably counted 500, and I was there for an hour. Lonzo was there at the bar having lunch, so we were there at the same time. But also, just in case you aren't connecting the dots of the time frame here, Trader Joe's is supposed to be opening in that parking lot at the same time. So, talk about
like
any
a
traffic
nightmare.
numbers that they have now are about to go through the roof.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Which,
so.
who knows how that's going to
It's
work.
not gonna work at
So
all.
I'm gonna hit send and have my
I'm never
vendors
going back
start
to the
replying
Avenue.
their interest because
Maybe they
I
drive
think
by.
really
I'll go
it
to
is a
Marquette to
good
go to
idea.
Trader Joe's.
And to your point, as long as I don't have to be a slave to this, that it could be really great. And Abby, I'm not trying to get you to do anything else, but like, if there was a day that you wanted to work from there, right? Because we all work remotely. Like we could literally go and work from there if we wanted to. So if I needed someone to like man the space, like we could go there. I could essentially, there's a really good like break room in the back. I mean, I could convert that into a little office for the time being or something, multi-purpose space. But anyway, I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. I've taken way too much time because who is speaking today is gonna, I mean, I haven't heard him present, but we met him a couple weeks ago. I actually, he's a guest of Xana's, and I took my family out to Xana's Ranch, and who was there but Cornelius and his family. So we had even more time to talk and get to know each other. And I mean, if you all weren't impressed with him the day that he was here as a guest, I know you're gonna be impressed today, so come on up.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So good morning.
Good morning.
I have 10 minutes, and I will only take 7.
So I've been battling in my mind to figure out what I want to discuss with you all today. And on the drive here, everything changed. And I'm okay with that. I believe what's meant to be will be, especially when we're intentional about what we want, right? What we desire and what our outcomes are. There are a couple points I want to talk to you about. When it comes to neuroscience or emotional intelligence, there's about 60 to 70,000 thoughts that we experience every single day. By the time we're in our 30s, 95% of that is on repeat. 95%. So it's interesting, right? Because when we think about this, it's our thoughts that create our feelings that create our emotions, right? And my addition to that is our emotions, depending on how we manage that, will determine an outcome. So if you've ever experienced some level of pain, some level of excitement, some level of sadness, depression, you name it, right? Right now we're probably over 35,000 different emotions that we can experience in our lifetime. What does that mean? Nothing, right? What matters most is how we deal with it. And so that's where I come into play when we talk about emotional intelligence. So my name is Cornelius Gamble. I'm a retired combat Marine. And I've served a lot of different roles, and the thing that I really enjoyed the most was helping people. I got out of the Marine Corps, I went into real estate, and I just couldn't seem to find my heart in that. And I excelled. I was really, really great at it, as well as everything else that I did. But I just couldn't lock it down. And in that time, for those 2 years that I was transitioning, I had probably the worst time of my life. I was entering into a state where I wanted to be back in combat, even though I was here in America, because my everyday life was triggering those emotional responses that I felt when I was over there, which is interesting, right? Nobody was shooting at me here. There was no bombs blowing up in my face like there was in Iraq. But for some reason, internally, I felt the same. And so in order for me to feel some level of consciousness or to make it make sense, I started trying to find civilian contracting jobs to go back and deploy again. And as I started to process this, it hit me again, like, man, like there is no guarantee of a guarantee when you enter into a world like that. So I started to wonder, and I prayed, I said, God, I know what to do to get up from here, because when I was in Iraq, I somehow had so much peace. As scary as it was pretty extreme. But at nighttime, I had a routine. I would go, and when I have time, I would meditate. I would look up at the stars. I had this whole thing I would go through. And it just seemed to be able to bring me a sense of calm, a sense of stillness. And I just could not seem to catch my breath here. I went skydiving when I got back. And, oh man, if you've never been, that's fantastic. It's the thrill of knowing that all you're going to do is fall. And I tell that story, and that's exactly what happens, right? And I tell that story because when I was going through my really, really difficult moment, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was kicked out of a plane at 14,000 feet with no parachute. In the middle of the night, there was no stars for me to look at, there was no way for me to gain a sense of calm, and I was just falling at a rapid, rapid rate. And I couldn't roll over to even see where I was headed, and this lasted for 2 years straight. The danger in that is, this is where people become suicidal. This is where people get into super dark, low depressive moments, or they become the individuals that end up hurting other people. I'm more the latter. Maybe based off of combat, my training, my experiences. And it just wasn't a safe place for me to be here, or for anyone to be around me. And it was interesting, right? Because at this time, I was already a master mindset life coach. I'm certified in neuro-linguistic programming, cognitive behavior therapy, rational emotive behavior therapy. What does that mean if you don't know? All this stuff just ties back to the mind, how we process, what we do and what we process, and how we can rewire those neural pathways in our brain. So if you've ever been in your car, had a long day, and then you find yourself at home and was like, how did I get here? Is that just me?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I talk about the 60 to 70,000 thoughts that we have, and 95% of that being on repeat, we want to be cautious of that, because that causes us to go on what we call autopilot. When you enter into autopilot, you are no longer conscious of your own thoughts, emotions, feelings, and responses. And so therefore, everything that has always happened will continue to repeat itself, right? And this loop is very dangerous, because if you don't learn how to get back in control of the wheel, the vehicle just controls itself. right? So this is where something happens, somebody cuts you off at the light, which just annoys the heck out of me. And they're like, beep, like, dude, the light just turned green, like a millisecond, like take it easy. Right? And so, I mean, they're laying on this horn. And so I have to learn how to regulate what I feel on the inside so it doesn't come outside. And that's a very difficult skill to master. And I tell people, I run a community called the Lab Operators, which is Learn, Apply, Become. And the slogan that I have for that is, it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. If you want to understand emotional intelligence, if you want to get to emotional mastery, you wake up every day and you apply the tools every day. There is no day off. There is no time to rest, because the moment you pull your foot off the throttle, you slow down and things start to go back the way they used to be. So what I like to say is, if you can imagine, is anybody in here an engineer? Okay. I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure, but I'm going to give it to you the way that I think about it. In order to make a road, I got to clear the path. Would that be accurate? Okay, so I got to knock all the trees down. I got to come through. I got to deforest everything. I got to probably maybe like throw down some gravel, whatever the case may be. But if we look at this, there's a pretty extensive process and a lot of labor and work that goes into that. What makes us think that we don't require that same level of work when it comes to our mindset? If anything, it requires more. So I'm also a martial arts instructor. I was a Marine Corps martial arts instructor for over 9 years. And one of the things that I realized early on is you don't always have to be physically present to be present. That's what I love about emotional intelligence. You see, our mind doesn't know the difference from a reality that is a physical reality or a reality that we tell ourselves. And so this is where the idea of thought is so pivotal, because if I think that it's real and I focus on that and meditate on that and I start to get feelings and emotions from that, then guess what just happened in my mind? I strengthen the neural pathway just as if I was going down a road heading home that I can't remember. And in order to be able to change that, we have to be intentional about creating lasting change. But the beauty is, it's never too late. You see, IQ is one of those things that's kind of fixed. So once you get to a certain age, you've learned a certain period of information, you kind of know what you know. Maybe you're a genius, maybe you're not, but emotional intelligence is one of those things. You could have went your entire life not knowing what it was or knowing how to apply it. Start applying it and watch your life change in a drastic way. I'll give you this statistic and then I'll close out on this. Ask yourself where you want to be, where you truly want to be. If you've made it to wherever you are in your life right now, not being emotionally intelligent or not mastering the skill of emotional intelligence, I'm going to give you this quote and I want you to really think on this. 64%, not of America, but of the world's population is in the dark. What I mean by in the dark is they are very low when it comes to emotional intelligence. Very reactive, explosive, not so much intentional. There's only about 36% of the world's population that is actually what I call in the light, which is emotionally intelligent. Where are you? Don't answer it to everybody. Your business, right? But think about that. Where are you? Where do you stand when it comes to those statistics? And if you've made it to where you are today, being in the 64 percentile, imagine how much different your life would be if you entered the 36. I appreciate your time. My name is Cornelius Gamble. I'm the founder and CEO of EQ Growth Lab, which is an emotional intelligence company. And now I will turn it to questions, right?
Yeah, my first question is, what can we as a community do for you?
Yeah, for sure. So the assistance that I think would be very valuable to me is to be able to allow an opportunity for me to get in front of more people to bring the light about emotional intelligence. And what does that look like? So obviously I'm a speaker. That's one of the things that I do. I'm a facilitator. I develop workshops, curriculums, programs, and things like that. So having the opportunity to be able to get in front of government agencies, corporate teams, or even veteran-led services would be very valuable. More so, I believe, to me in the audience instead of just myself.
Say that again?
It'd be valuable for myself in the audience as opposed to just myself.
Gotcha.
And what I mean by that is, obviously to have a business, you've got to have revenue, or otherwise it's just a hobby. But I truly believe, again, I'm on a mission. this is what I was meant to do. This is what I was born for. So for me, it's far bigger than the money. And if I have the opportunity to really lean into doing what God has called me to do, everything else will take care of itself. I know for a fact this will be a global organization, not because I said so, but because He showed me in a dream. So, you know, I tell people I'm just following God's plan. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Let's turn it loose.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
First, what are the key 3 to 5 elements that to be able to practice on a daily basis, to be able to set that tone for the morning?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Amazing question. So his question is, what are some things that I can do maybe on a day-to-day practice to be able to strengthen myself when it comes to emotional intelligence? My personal belief is to meditate. I believe meditation is the greatest way to change your life. But don't just sit in silence and then go through some breathing exercises and act like you're Aang the Avatar. But have intention when you do it, right? Sit down and think of what you want your life to be like. And when you start to, and let me point this out. When I say meditation, when we meditate, bless you, there are oftentimes intrusive thoughts that will come up that'll distract you. And a lot of people think, oh, meditation sucks, it's not for me. Well, the intrusive thoughts let you know that you're on the path to meditation. So embrace that and rewire the way we look at it. So meditation would be the very first thing. Meditate with intention. Let me be more specific. The other aspect of it is understanding self-awareness. You know, what is it that I feel? Why do I feel what I feel? Some people, we can kind of go into the idea of metacognition, which is thinking about thinking, right? Thinking about how I'm thinking. And then the third thing would be present moment awareness. Allow yourself to be where you are now. The future has not yet happened, nor is it guaranteed. The past has already occurred. You can't go back and change that. So the only thing you have is where you are. I know my time is up for speaking, but on that, I want to give you a short story, if I can, on why I'm giving you those specific 3 topics as opposed to the other million things. There was one time I was stacked at a building. Stacking is like, you know, we're getting ready to breach a building, to enter a building, to handle business, for lack of better terms. You know, we just got to check the box on some people. So anyway, I'm stacked on the building. I'm the first man, and the breacher was behind me, and so I signaled the breacher to come up to bust the door open. The breacher knocks the door open, and at that moment, everything is slow as smooth as fast, but the more fluid you are, the more proficient you become, the less risk you have to yourself and your team. And so ultimately all that means in simple terms is when you go. That's it. And so once I entered the door, and I'm going to tell the story, and it's always crazy to me, and I'm the one that experienced it. It felt like forever, even though I know it happened in a millisecond. But this is the value of being present. When I went in the building and I'm getting ready to do my clearing process, I heard this like tink, tink, tink sound. And I look over and I'm watching this grenade roll towards me. And at this point, I'm already, just pull up a YouTube video and see what Marines do. Right? So, but I'm already in it. And then my team is coming behind me, and what do? You know, what do you do? If you don't know, once the grenade pin is pulled and the mechanism is released, you have about 3 to 6 seconds before it goes kaboom. So there's not a whole lot of time. But the beauty of being present moment is, had I been distracted about something that occurred prior to entering that building, had I been focused on whatever I expect to happen, that could have cost my life and my entire team's life. Obviously, I'm here to tell you the story, so we all made it out, right? But that is the beauty of being present moment awareness. And so if there are a few things, those would be the things I would tell you, and that is my significance as to why they're valuable. We got out. Yeah, so the grenade rolled, I kicked the grenade, and I kept my gun towards the way that it was, and I kind of shouldered my team back, and by the time we got on the other side of the door, you know, the grenade did what the grenade does. So, again, this is why I also say God's plan. Because sometimes I have survivor's remorse, right, which is so unique, is I feel bad at times for being alive, for some of the things that I've been through, because there are so many other people that I deployed with who will never see their family, right? And so that's a very difficult thing. However, I do understand that if I'm here for purpose. I'm not here by accident, which is why I stepped into doing what I'm doing with the company that I have now. So thank you for asking that. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
You have a very good story, your story as far as being a vet, and thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
What are you doing right now to connect with some veteran warrior type organization? Have you reached out to any of those type organizations, and how has that gone for you?
Yes, great question. So what am I doing to actually penetrate that market of the veteran organizations that I talked about would be beneficial for the organization, my organization, to be a part of? So over in Hampton, Georgia, I participate with the Calvin Center. On Fridays, we have a veteran program. It's completely free, and so every Friday veterans show up. Over there, we go through horse therapy, essentially like equestrian therapy. It's not like a therapist is talking to you, but you go through a series of exercises with the animal that brings you calm and peace. And so what I do to penetrate in that market is I volunteer over there as much as I can, and also providing guidance on different techniques, programs. I also am a part of the Marine Corps League down in Griffin, and we're working on a program as well to be able to develop some interesting things to be able to bring more awareness to a veteran community. I'm going to be meeting with the VSG, Veteran Service Group over in McDonough, Georgia, to work with, we'll figure out that when we have the meeting, so I can't answer that specifically. And I'm trying to get in with McDonough, the mayor's office, to be able to help also create some programs specifically for the veteran community. Yeah.
Lots of know the Eden Group. I was literally
I do
the
not.
Eden Project.
Okay.
You can connect you with them.
Yeah.
Do you work with Camp Southern Ground at all?
Yeah, so I don't work with Camp Southern Ground, but I attended Camp Southern Ground as a participant.
You did?
So I went through the retreat, Warrior Week. Warrior Path.
Warrior Path.
I went through Warrior Path. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know those folks and you can reach out
Correct.
for help, or do you need me to connect you?
No. Yeah. Dr. Jen, so I have her contact.
Okay.
And so she's been assisting me with some things. Yes.
There are still 22 suicides a day. What is the
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. That number's always been wrong. The 22 a day was more of a sense of awareness than an actual number. I was a suicide prevention officer for the Marine Corps before I retired as well. And I want to say the number is probably closer to maybe like 50 a day. And it's starting to increase. And I understand personally why, especially going through the experience that I went through. Is there a second part to that question? Or okay. Yeah.
Just what we do.
Yeah, the number is steadily increasing, and so this is why this is so vitally important. Entering into a world where you are in someone else's mind for some traumas that they've experienced that they are struggling to deal with is a very difficult thing for the person to coach someone else and also the individual going through it. Sometimes there's a lot of teaching that goes on about suicide awareness and suicidality that says that you should be able to see triggers or cues or signs. I'm going to tell you right now that's complete bullcrap. It's completely false, and don't accept that. You don't know until you know, and then it's oftentimes too late. What we do see are alters in behaviors that trigger our awareness to the individual going through a struggle. But everybody's situation is different. I've seen people who had no personality change. They don't do the things that we hear about giving away stuff. And then the next day they were dead in a car near a river. I've experienced people who went through the process of giving everything away, was drinking and driving, tried to crash into a tree, but they were trying to eliminate the pain, not necessarily take their life. So it's just such a tricky thing. But anyway, don't believe the idea that you should be able to stop someone. And if it happens to someone you know, it's not your fault. I want to point that out as well. And one last stat is that most people who experience suicide of a loved one, somebody close to them, are usually 50% likely to follow that path themselves. So when I say this is a big thing, this is a real big thing. So my mom died from a brain aneurysm when I was 23 after I just returned from Iraq. And that was another thing that was really difficult for me. But it really showed me all the more how valuable our mind is. There are only two elements really in the world. I mean, you can look at the periodic table, but I'm going to break that down. There's energy and there's matter, period. And God has blessed us with the ability to have both of those inside of the 6 inches between our ears. But if we don't utilize that tool, it becomes a weapon. And that weapon is oftentimes weaponized against us instead of in our favor. And that's where we start having these high numbers of suicide.
Mr. Cornelius, thank you for your service, sir.
Appreciate it, thank you.
I'm really moved by everything that you say here. You know, sitting here, putting my glasses, because usually I'm closer in the room, I kind of observe more like you and the background behind you. These posters say building communities one cup at a time. And you have a lot of knowledge and experience also like in how you kind of build people's mindset. Now while Jason is asking usually how can we as a community help you, I think it's very appropriate for you to, like for us actually to ask how can you help the community in this case. And with the line one cup at a time, it brought to my mind like maybe what you could do if you're not doing it already is share one small sentence, inspirational one, every day on social media so we can follow you and we can share it so soon enough you will become an authority not here in this circle of us here in Middle Cups, but also in the entire community. And I think this is going to be your beautiful contribution to the community itself. Because and last sentence, you know, I see also the writing on the screen over there. It says like that, you know, you empower the leaders and you rewire their mindsets. And those are processes. Those are not like a small touch, a one-time meeting, and everything is fixed. So I think by sharing those little things every day, like little sentences, you know, on social media that we can follow, that will kind of bring us into the process of empowering ourselves and improving ourselves. So
yes, I agree with
just
you.
a thought.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Sure.
And I will implement that. Yeah, so thank you. Any other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Okay, coming from a person that has a family history of mental illness, what are some of the tools that you would incorporate into a person's life to get them back on the right track?
Okay, if a person is experiencing a mental trauma, struggle, what are some things that we can utilize to help them regain focus? It's a very difficult question to answer truly. The mind is a very interesting tool. And there are so many different things that we as people experience in our minds that we don't speak out loud. And so I believe if I give you just a simple answer, I will be giving you the wrong answer. In trueness. Now, to not leave it without something, I will give you something, but I just wanted to lead with that first. The biggest thing I would say is having the ability to rewire the way we think about what we're seeing. So as I mentioned earlier, our thoughts create our feelings, and those feelings create our emotions. And I'll briefly go into that a little bit. If 95% of what we're experiencing is based off of things that we've already been through, then what's happening is when I see something that creates some some type of experience, whether my palms get sweaty, my heart starts to race, my hairs on my skin start to stand up. Becoming self-aware or present moment allows us to pick up on the triggers or the things that are happening to our body to then rewire before the experience takes place. That will be the scientific way of going about it. It's easy for me to say that, but it's not so easy to do. And so to support someone going through a situation like that, I've learned that we all just want to be heard, seen, noticed, and loved. And maybe if we could provide that and give some time for people to be willing to open up to us, then we can start trying to help them with tools. Don't just come with the tool first. I've seen a lot of times in my experience, you're going to get a big projection on that. Because it's not that we don't know, we know. It's just that we're battling the demon, the trauma, the issue that's causing us to not be open or receptive to things that will be logically correct, which is why we talk about emotional intelligence. There's a difference between logic and emotion. So not a very direct answer to your question. And if you need more from me, please let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Any other questions, comments, or anything that I can touch on?
My only feedback, while I think that it's become really clear as to what you do and who you do it for here, I'm not sure that it's understood there. That's a really strong mission statement, but I'm not instantly sure that I understand who should be reading that. So you've served. Now's the time for clarity and purpose, right? Like, and I can help you get there. That's, and we talked about Steve before, and he like is in my head all the time. Everything that we say about what we do should be coming from a place of guiding the hero. In this case, they literally are heroes, but guiding the hero. You're the guide, they're the hero, guiding the hero towards something. What is that thing? Purpose, clarity, that gives them meaning. You're the one that helps them get there. So I haven't really even scrolled through, because if I did, it would affect what everybody sees, and I'm trying not to distract them. But inevitably, that's my ultimate feedback for just how the website presents you.
Yeah.
I also, I had seen your logo before, and I see it there now. Smiley face, is there more to it?
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, sure. So the purpose behind the smiley face is that joy is something that I believe we should be intentional about seeking. When you enter a state of joy, a lot of the other emotional quotes or states that we'll find ourselves in is eradicated temporarily. However, everything operates off of a vibration. And so when you enter a space of someone who's genuinely happy, or a room of people who's genuinely happy, oftentimes it rubs off on you. And the traumas or the pains you had are left at the door. And so if there's anything I would want people to walk away with is making sure that they feel better after an experience with me than they did prior to meeting me. And that's the purpose of the smiley face.
I like it. I wonder if if your audience is in fact a group of people who are feeling depressed, could that feel unattainable before talking to you?
Yeah.
Does it turn them away in any way? Also, the hashtag in front of EQ Growth Lab .co. Like there's something happening there that I'm confused about too. Like hashtags are still a thing. They are used for people to help find posts. I don't know that people are going to be searching the hashtag EQ Growth Lab.
Right.
So that may not be the hashtag that we want to capitalize on. And then the .co with a dot at the end also, that just becomes like a little bit confusing to me. But just even EQ Growth Lab, do most people know what EQ means? Emotional, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's some people in the room that are saying, yeah, they do, right? But does general populace know? I'm not sure. So again, I understand what it is that you're doing. I'm not sure that it's immediately clear when you hand somebody your card.
Right.
That's my feedback, but that's
Yeah.
just off the cuff, and I'd love to talk more about it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Again, the stats do show that 64% have no idea.
So, I thought I was an intelligent person before this. The
Intelligence
EQ,
They're not the same.
EQ I thought was outward. Like, can I understand what you're feeling? Like, being a leader, can I understand what you're feeling? I didn't know you're using it in a way that's internal, which makes a whole lot of sense. But I don't know if, again, I'm not smart, so I don't know if that's what other people think or not. So maybe understanding or letting people know that this is an internal basis,
sure.
not an external basis.
Absolutely. Yeah, so EQ is emotional quotient, and that's the measurement of your EI, which is emotional intelligence. And so, my company is not here to motivate you. That's hence the point of rewiring. It's guaranteed after my company is done, you will have transformation in your life. And I'm not saying this because it sounds good. I'm saying this because over my career in the Marine Corps, this has already occurred. And so, units improving 35% or even improving 45% when it comes to morale, suicide rates dropping. So there's a lot of significance in the data. And I get what you guys are saying as well. At a presence, what kind of ways can I make it more inviting to the audience or more clear to what the purpose is and how, in essence, what they can get as far as value. So I definitely understand that. Yes.
For me, I've been moved too. I've got like a lot of emotions going. Okay, so just past experience, and I lost a Marine to suicide. Okay, full transparency. So I want to know, just to be clear, you're not a therapist?
Correct.
Okay, so you're looking to present to leadership teams, conferences, things of that nature, to tell your story and to make us more aware of the emotional intelligence. Am I thinking this correctly? Or are there levels to your services?
Yes. So there are levels. The speaking is just the opportunity to bring the awareness. And then from the speaking, or bringing awareness, if the leaders see that they are the type of leader that will want to bring that type of change to their organization, then we work on how we bring that change. But I don't believe in just, this is the framework, take it and do it. It's not, it doesn't effectively work that way. And so there's an assessment that would need to happen of understanding your team dynamic, your own thinking processes, and then together we develop something that's unique to your organization, your team, for what you're experiencing to get that transformation. That's my technique and my approach. Is that?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'll probably sidebar with you. And then I want to circle back just for the group because of my experience. The gentleman back here said 22, the report was 22 died per day. You said that that's understated, okay? And I'm going to say that's because of the lack of self-reporting, okay? Sometimes we don't know who's in the system and why they died or what their experiences were early on in his 20s as Marines, okay? So that's why that's understated. And also in our society right now, we self-isolate, okay? And this gentleman talked about his experience with his family, and you told him that you noticed patterns. That's what I heard.
Sure.
You noticed patterns in people, changes, and I noticed changes in this individual. But I wasn't equipped to know what was next. Okay. So, but if you're not in community with this person, this is a coworker, if you're not in community with these people, how are you going to recognize the pattern? Okay. And we were a tight group of professionals at the time that we lost him. And I ran a half marathon that week. I'm telling the story. I ran a half marathon that week, and it was a big deal. And I wore my medal to work, and they all knew whenever I finished a half marathon that I was going to wear my medal to work. I can't remember which one it was, but I was several. And I could still see his smile encouraging me. And like, you did that? And the next day it was gone. So I just want us as a community to be aware that these devices and not having community and not being involved with people, you won't recognize the pattern. So at some point we gotta communicate with each other so I can recognize something's a little off today. And the only thing that I saw in hindsight, every day at lunchtime he started going to his car to sleep. Like, why is Antoine sleeping so much? That's what haunts me because I saw that pattern. But nobody, it's like, oh, he's on his lunch break. He do whatever he wants to do with his time.
Right.
But we didn't know what was going on internally. It made the news, but, so So say his name, Antoine Davis. It changed my life, how I view that. Because I never saw it coming.
It's difficult, right?
Yeah. It's been some years, but so just awareness of noticing. If we're not in community with people we don't know what happens, we won't recognize it.
Yeah. And may I make a comment back to you? And I mean, I guess this applies to everyone, but I want to speak to you because this is your story. It happens. It happens more than we expect, and one is too many. But it's not your fault.
Oh no, I realize that.
You know, and maybe that was a pattern, maybe it wasn't. You know, it's always clear when we turn around and look back, because now we can see it. For the average person, you could have just been tired, had a rough night. It could be, you know, it's a million different ways it could have been. It just is, and it's unfortunate that it is, but it is. The greatest thing, because there's not always warning signs, and sometimes we don't have the ability to know a person clear enough. Empathy is the superpower. And so just being able to remove ourselves, our judgment, what we're going through, to just see. Like, I see you. Like, I see that this still hurts you even today. Like, if we could take the time to be present with the people we're with, I think we'll gather a lot more data than just the surface level things that we oftentimes go through. Like, if you know me personally, I ask you how you're doing at least 2 or 3 times. But it's very intentional because I know the first time you're probably gonna lie.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, but thank you for sharing that. Yes?
Yeah, so the mechanics of this, if you went with an organization, is that you probably do an assessment.
Correct.
Figure out where they're already doing great and figure out where the gaps are.
Correct.
Make them known to people, because a lot of people probably can't articulate what they're good at or what they're not so good at.
Yes.
And then there's some drills
Yes.
to help them work on, like if there's a lack of empathy, you can say,
Correct.
give some examples, and then slowly they would unlock or improve in those areas where they were deficient, which would then make them more effective as a team.
100%.
Is that kind of the drill?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Yes.
Who are some good referral partners for you?
Okay, maybe give me an example.
Would you be a good referral partner for, like, say, somebody in HR?
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, they'll help you get in front of businesses or something potentially, and you help them. I mean, obviously, you help them because their business culture will rewire their mindsets.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for that question.
I don't know, like, as business coaches or therapists, or I mean, are all of those good referral partners, or do you know of any others?
Yeah, so as direct as possible, people in positions to make change would be the best referral partner. So that could be someone in the HR department, that could be the person that leads the training and development. I'm actually writing a research paper right now that talks about what changes workplace climate. And the number one contributing factor is professional development and training. And so, again, my company is a development and training organization. So it's not just like, I motivate you. I mean, I'm sure you probably feel that from me speaking, but that is just such a surface level thing.
Right.
But yeah, the people who can actually make change would be the best referral partners.
Okay.
I'm going to piggyback on this,
Yeah.
this comment. I think for you, like organizations that's first responders, right? That could be a multitude of different types of disciplines, but you know, you're really dealing with someone that's dealing with trauma, right? I think what you do, not just military, right? Not just military. Any, you know, you got nurses, you know, people working in emergency rooms, you know, people who have trauma in their lives. I think you can bring value to those type of organizations. So I think that's probably maybe a good part of it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Now, you're absolutely correct on that. And I think that's the stigma that I want to break. We wait till trauma happens to try to fix it. It's too late. you know, because now there's a lot of resistance that goes into that. And is it possible to do? Yes, I've done it in combat. I've done it here leading in America. But I'm telling you, that's. And I want to be as respectful as possible because I value your opinion. But that's not my approach as a business. It's most effective to capture people before we get to that state, because when we get to that state, there's a lot of things we're unwilling to hear or see. And so if we can, it's like a car. If it breaks, you're going to spend a lot more money now than you would if you just did the maintenance. I want to help people understand that maintenance is super valuable. And if you get to a point where you're about to break, then we can transition to something else, like a one-on-one or whatever else like that.
I want to piggyback on this gentleman there. What I see is I see kind of in today's world, and we have more and more people working from home, and leaders are not equipped to do this, what you're talking about in person, no less do this over a phone or over the internet. And so I don't know if it's digitizing what you're doing or just working with HR departments to educate their leaders on how to ask the right questions in their Monday morning meetings so that they understand what's going on with this person. Because people now are, there's no separation of work and life, right? It's you're at work and home all the time. And I remember when I worked from home for the first time, I went from working, X amount of hours to 1.5 times more, right? Because I was home. It was easy for me to just walk downstairs and do the work. And so now people are, I think, working harder, working longer, working more absorbed in the stress, and then they have no place to get away from it. Now your home is your stress. Where it used to be work was your stress. And you can jump in the car, decompress, and go home. There is none of that anymore. You are part of your stress, and then you get done with work, and if you're lucky enough to have a basement, you walk upstairs, and now you could be entering a stressful life, right? And so now your home is not the reprieve it used to be. And so I believe strongly that there has to be some kind of AI or some kind of bot or education around the systems that you use that look for trends, like you're saying. What is changing this person's personality? Or characteristics or work habits that need to be identified.
Yeah, no, definitely, thank you. When I'm listening to you speak, what I hear that comes to my mind is the idea of internal locus of control and external locus of control. And so oftentimes we're looking for the external factor, which is already out of our control. As wild as that sounds, even if it is in our own personal lives. And there's just simple to me because I've been doing it for so long, but there are very simple techniques that can be applied that can change that only take about 5 minutes a day.
It could even be like, there used to be a wellness app. That wellness app used to just every day, how are you doing today? How are you feeling today? Right? Well, why is your employer not doing that? Why are they not popping up on the screen and being like, how are you doing? How can I help you? Be more mentally,
Because people would ignore that.
Whatever the word is. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Cornelius, for your presentation and your service. I'm just going to bring it home just a little bit more personal. What I heard you say was most beneficial for your story was that you were talking about breaching and building a wall. That was the correlation of going into the combat zone. What was your premise in building a wall?
Yeah.
Was that the word?
No, so we were stacked against the wall.
Stacked against the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so taking that personal stack against the wall, my question or my, I guess, vision for you would be, what 3 things intentional that you can bring to help bring revenue that stacking the walls, because we know the Veterans Association, it definitely is saturated with so many. So my question for you to help bring revenue into you, what would be 3 focal intentional points of stacking the walls with companies, I would think, that would help generate a meaning and purpose to where there would be clarity for you to move forward instead of all over the place, and that I'm not sure if that's for you to be of greater service to companies and to bring revenue for your organization be successful. And so, because you're stacking walls, and there's many, many companies out there that have walls built up that need to be breached with your experience and maybe your service too. Because you said, what, 97% is repeat. And so we all get caught up, same with businesses, they get so caught up in repeat of stuff they're doing. So my question would be intentionally for you, as you prepare for those things, that you would be intentional. Like I try to be, I'm preaching, I'm talking to myself as to the choir. To be intentional, because I'm wide open. People say, man, Jay, you gotta get focused and find your niche, at least 2 or 3 niches, and go after those to be intentional.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. Yeah.
So, back to me again. I attend about 3 to 4 conferences, financial conferences a year.
Good.
Every single conference is a reading that has either written a book or has a story, whatever you've learned from that experience. So I think that would be a good entry point for you. Financially, you're trying to, of course, you're trying to educate people the 64% of what emotional intelligence is. So your market is there. I don't think you're trying to counsel veterans or anything like that. But the conferences, it's going to give you a huge platform. So I'd like to introduce you on a smaller level individually. But we've had some pretty big national conferences with exposure for you. I don't know what that looks like as far as workshops afterwards. But it's not one employer, but it may be a room full of several employers from the conference.
Thank you. Oh yes, I'd like to come back to your 3 points, because I do have them. One is speaking, that's the breaching point. That's where we knock the door open and bring awareness. 2 would be actually coming in and doing workshops. And this is where we get the team involved and then actually start doing assessments, working things out. Now, it's not me talking at you about a technique, but you're learning how to actually apply it for yourself. And then the third thing would be retreats. So now that you've gone through this is a space for you to be able to come let go of the things that no longer serve you. So if that's clear. Okay. Yes, sir.
One thing to piggyback on what she said, certainly your focus is changing mindsets, rewiring thinking patterns. But from a financial perspective, in order for people to do it, they need to stop doing what they're doing and start doing something different. So it may be a way in to help her, but then move into other things as well. So introducing, changing mindset here, thought patterns here, but let's dig a little bit deeper beyond that, other aspects of it.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Well, in the interest of time, because I think I have a meeting in 6 minutes, I am going to have to end, but we all knew this was going to happen. At least I did. Cornelius, thank you for your service and for your time today. It's just so that everybody, is this it? Just so that everybody can see the benefits of being a speaker. We hope to see you over and over and over again. Thank you so much. And I don't, yes?
Can I have 2
Yes.
minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Margaret.
Some of you have heard this before, but it doesn't hurt to talk about it again. It's the beginning of the school year. School starts here Monday. I am Margaret Coleman. I am the Mentor Program Specialist for Fayette County Public Schools, and I am seeking mentors. Specifically men, but I need women too. We are just low on men. We are asking of you 30 minutes once a week during the school year to donate to a child in need. We ask that you meet with them one-on-one during the school day in their school. So I know that's difficult for some people, but you're here, so maybe you could do that, right? And if it's not for you, maybe you can think of somebody else who has that ability and desire, because our kids really need that. And I know this is Fayette County and people think, they're doing fine, but they're not. Okay, none of our kids anywhere are doing fine. We could all use, in this room even, mentors, right? So imagine being a kid. It's K through 5, boys and girls, all of our 25 schools, So if there's a specific area that you like to be in or an age range you like to work with, let me know. If not for you though, maybe somebody else, you can share the information or share my information with them. I have business cards. Let me know if you're interested and we can talk. Thank you.
It's a very rewarding program. I hope you all consider it. And with that, I will see everybody next week.
Very good.